I am a huge fan of folding phones.
There is nothing better than having a phone that you can fold open to basically become a tablet, and I have tried a lot of folding phones over the last 12 months. The Honor Magic V3, the Huawei Mate X6, and what was my favourite folding phone, the Pixel 9 Pro Fold, but its days might be numbered.
And now I'm about to go and see what is supposedly the thinnest folding phone in the world. And this all comes from OPPO with the OPPO Find N5. So I'm curious to see what this one is all about. So that briefing is over, and this is the OPPO Find N5. So we've only just got it. And let me tell you, this is actually so thin. It's like ridiculous. It's almost too thin, and it's really strong because something that they're showing here is how strong the whole hinge is. And they've got it with a dumbbell underneath. Like, look at that. That is just ridiculous. And there's barely any flex in that as well. And honestly, this view of London for the release of this for the briefing is so silly.
I've had a couple of days now to play with the OPPO Find N5, and I've got to say, the first thing I have to mention is the thinness, because this is now the world's thinnest book-style foldable. It beats the Pixel 9 Pro Fold, the Z Fold 6, and the previous title holder of that, the Honor Magic V3. So folded, the N5 is 8.93mm thin, and it also has a 6.6-inch display, which is really similar to like a regular style slab phone, so it's nice and easy to use this phone when it is closed. But where the N5 just takes the crown here is when you unfold it, because it is just 4.21mm thin, and the OPPO even told me that they had to make some special tweaks to the USB-C port to even fit that in here. And I was actually thinking before I got my hands on this that I didn't want folding phones to become thinner, because the thinner they are, the more fragile they are, but OPPO have thought about that as well. So the claim is that the N5 has a 70% stronger inner display than the N3, and that hinge is also 30% stronger. And I don't want to test this myself, but I did show you before that OPPO did test this by strapping a dumbbell around it for like the 2 hours that I was at the briefing, and it gives me confidence that their unit didn't break, so me dropping this, it should be fine. And sadly, I have dropped this phone already when I've had it folded open, and it still seems to be holding up pretty well. And that folding display is the star of the show. It's huge. It's 8.1 inches, and it's easily my favorite folding display that I've used over the past couple of years. And one of the big reasons is that it's barely got any reflections when you have this in direct sunlight. And the other big reason for that is the crease, or should I say lack of crease, because honestly, you can barely see that the crease even exists on this OPPO Find N5. Now, I usually don't spend time talking about creases at all, because it's just one of the compromises you make when you get a folding phone. But with the N5, it's practically not there at all. Like, look at this compared to the Pixel Fold or the Magic V3. It's barely visible, and when that screen is on, you completely forget that it's there, because at that point it almost is invisible. And another benefit of not being able to see the crease is the fact that you cannot even feel the crease. So when you do occasionally run your finger across the middle of the display, on other folding phones there's like a small divot where you can feel that crease in there, but with the N5, honestly, you just don't realize it's there. OPPO said that the way that they've been able to achieve this lack of crease is through 3D printing the hinge to help reduce that crease. And I mean, whatever they are doing, everybody else needs to look at, because this is the only way forward with a folding phone. If I had one complaint about that folding display, it would be that the peak brightness is not on the same level as something like the Pixel 9 Pro Fold. But I mean, I'm stretching here to have a complaint about this display because it is so good. And actually, something else that is impressive with the OPPO Find N5 is its battery. The N5 has a 5600 mAh silicon carbon battery, and at the briefing, it was actually really interesting to see how thin the battery was, because you wouldn't think that it would be able to power a device for as long as it can, because so far I have not been able to kill this. It's really impressive. I've mainly been using that big 8-inch folding display, and so far I've only got 20% in one day. Like, this is really impressive. I've watched loads of videos, multitasked on this, and it's just held up better than any foldable I've used in the past 12 months or ever. And if I ever get to a point where I need to charge this phone quickly, it has 80-watt SuperVOOC charging, and granted, that might not be the fastest charging speeds that you can get in any phone, but it still can get you full in just 55 minutes. And talking of battery and why it lasts so long, that could be down to the fact that this is the first foldable that is powered by the Snapdragon 8 Elite chip. I've tried to throw a lot at this phone in the past couple of days to see how it deals with it, and it's dealt with it really well, even if most of that has been a bit of gaming with Call of Duty Mobile. And it's more than powerful running on the 7-core version here, because if you used a more powerful version of the Snapdragon 8 Elite chip, this phone would just run too hot, and obviously that would start impacting battery life and performance. So OPPO made the right choice here. Cameras on foldables that I've used kind of let the phone down, but the main 50 megapixel and 3x telephoto that we have here, they do a decent job. Now, I've not really been able to take as many photos as I'd want or had long enough with the N5 yet to give a definitive answer on how the cameras perform, so I'll let you make up your own mind as you look at a few photos that I've taken. The main camera and the 3x zoom actually do a really good job in terms of capturing details. That's the one thing that I really like, and I do prefer the pictures that I've taken on the N5 if I compare them to photos that I've taken with the Pixel 9 Pro Fold, because they were always a bit disappointing, and even the Magic Beast 3. You also get the AI telescope zoom that kicks in after 10 times, and this does a pretty good job, especially up to around 60 times, and the AI helps just to add details here, and it makes the Foldable usable, so I like this. Then there's the tele-macro photography that uses the 3x telephoto to grab macro shots, which is quite nice because most phones use that ultra-wide, so I don't mind not having to be as close to subjects and still getting great results. You'll notice that there is a third camera on this, and you do get an ultra-wide, but there is a reason that I didn't mention it, and that's because actually it's just not great. It's only an 8 megapixel sensor, and even in well-lit situations, the details are lacking here, and it's not the best. And then the camera becomes worse when you go into low light situations, and 8 megapixels just isn't great compared to what else is out there on other foldables that I've already mentioned. And this is just something that lets that camera system down, which is a shame because actually the main and the telephoto are great. The video also isn't anything really to shout home about. It can do 4K 60, but the dynamic range on this is just not as good as I'd hoped it would be, and in low light there is just a bit too much noise for my liking, and as it's a foldable it kind of does get a pass, but I'd definitely rather use the Pixel 9 Pro Fold because of video boost if I was going to take any video here. And the N5 has a couple of other things that I think are temperamental about it as well. So let's take face unlock, for example. This works sometimes really well and sometimes just doesn't work at all. And if you're trying to use this in low light, it really doesn't handle it well. The volume buttons are way too high to even use comfortably with one hand. So I need like 7 fingers to even reach these. And not being able to double press the power button to open the camera is a little bit annoying. OPPO makes you double press the volume down key, which is odd. And I just kind of like can't even reach that either, so it just isn't very convenient. And moving to Color OS, now it's not the best OS out there at all. It's fine, but there's still some quirks within Color OS that I just don't like. Not being able to add 5 apps in a row and only being able to add 4 is a strange choice. This is a folding phone, there's loads of room on that display, so let me add 5. And then I can't add more apps to that taskbar than just 4, and that's just a little bit infuriating because it has loads of space, so it just looks a bit silly being that small, and the suggested apps don't do a great job of suggesting. And not being able to have an option to long press and hide that taskbar, again, a little bit annoying. Sometimes it's quite nice to just be completely immersed in what you're doing rather than having a taskbar just sat there at the bottom of the display. The OPPO Connect app is a big selling point of OPPO's at the moment, and it's still here. It was introduced on the Find X8 series, and essentially what you can do is it's like AirDrop, so you can send and receive files from iPhones really easily, but now OPPO have taken it a little bit further, and you can now get OPPO Connect for Mac. This just lets the N5 browse and take files right from your computer and move them to your phone, and I actually think it's cool and works pretty well because transferring files from an Android to a Mac or vice versa is just a little bit annoying. And then the other feature of OPPO Connect on Mac is being able to do remote control, so you can use your Mac from your N5 and you get a whole touchpad that supports multi-touch, and I gave it a go. I've played with it a couple of times. I even tried to edit a bit of a video on Final Cut, and actually the latency between the phone and the Mac is pretty small, so it is doable, but it's maybe a little bit of a gimmick. It's not a way that I'm going to go and edit my videos every single day, but I can see why this might come in handy for some people if you're doing a PowerPoint and you want to show it on your Mac but control it from your phone. So I don't know, in some use case scenarios people will definitely use this, but it's not one for me. Overall, I think the N5 is probably the best designed foldable that I've used. It has very little crease, although we do need to see how that holds up over a couple of months use. It has flat sides, so it's really comfortable to hold, and I'm not scared of breaking this. It feels solid despite it being the thinnest foldable that you can get. It doesn't feel like I'm going to break it, and I feel like I can look past a few of those annoying quirks that I mentioned to maybe make this my foldable of choice. And if you want to pick one of these up, it comes in just one variant, so it's 512 gigs of storage and 16 gigs of RAM. And I really want to be able to tell you exactly how much this costs, but I can't because I'm recording this a couple of days before the actual global launch of the N5, and OPPO hasn't told us the pricing yet, but I think you can expect it to be right at the top of pricings of folding phones. So think of the Pixel 9 Pro Fold and the Galaxy Z Fold 6 as a comparison of where this will probably sit. As soon as I get pricing, I'll put a pinned comment to the video so you can have a look at exactly how much it'll cost and where it's going to be available, but it's unlikely that this is going to be coming to the US, which is a shame because it's by far my favorite foldable, even if it has that terrible ultra-wide camera. Let me know what you think of the OPPO Find N5, and I'm genuinely curious at this point, what would it take for you to swap your slab style phone for a foldable? Because I feel like now the batteries are really good, the cameras are getting there, and they're strong, and like there's almost no crease now. So I'm curious to what you would actually need from a foldable to replace the phone that you have already. I suppose price is probably the biggest point, but hopefully in the next couple of years that should be coming down. But before you head off, why not subscribe to the Android Authority YouTube channel? And if you do that, then I'll see you in the next video.